This presentation is brought to you by Smoooth Productions.
The last Wednesday of the month, so you know what time it is. It's time for you to go ahead and enter into the man cave. As always, a smooth production.
Alright, so it's the Man Cave coming to you live from the Platform Sportstalk Network. My bad, Smoooth. I won't mess it up no more. I got you, man. I got you. You know what?
It's a platinum show, man.
The show is platinum. That's why I keep saying it.
It's about that time.
The cave.
It is about to go down. It's about that time.
In the cave.
It's about that time. It is about to go down. It's about that time.
In the cave.
Guaranteed to go down. It's about to go down.
In the cave.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the last Wednesday of the month, so you know what that means. Come on downstairs into the man cave. It is I, the one and only Stanton, baby. Before I get started, I know I'm about a month late, but I want to say Happy New Year, everybody. I was not on the January show. I was on assignment, but I am here and I'm excited and I'm ready to get this show started. But also, I want to just take this time to thank you all for tuning in on all of our various platforms, pun intended. Whether you're watching us on Facebook, on the Platform Sportstalk Show page, whether you're following us and watching us on X at 314 Sports Talk, whether you're on Instagram at Platform Sports Talk, whether you're watching us or listening to us, should I say, on Hot 365 Radio, either on their website or on their app, which you can get on your Google Play Store or the App Store for Apple products, or you're watching them on twitch.tv/Hot365 Radio. Whether you're watching us now, listening to us now, or you're listening to the replay on Sunday, we appreciate you. Keep in mind, every first Wednesday of the month, we've got Ladies' Night. And of course, every last Wednesday of the month, you got us fellas. But every Wednesday in between, you know who holds it down? The Platform Sports Talk Show. Shout out to our super producer, Smoooth. Shout out Bunny. And shout out to whoever else can be on the show when we can be on the show. We understand that life be lifing, but guess what? We make time for the things that we love, and we love to talk about sports. As you guys know by now, as we've been doing this for a few years, you know I never do this show alone, and thank God, because I'd get tired real quick if it was just me talking. I want to go ahead and bring in our panel mates. First and foremost, the elder statesman, the guy who's been here A1 since day one, Sadal, will not be on the show this evening. We hope he feels better. So, Sadal, if you're watching, shout out to you, brother. We can't wait to have you back. But for those who are here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring in my brother, Mr. Two Up, Two Down. I'm talking about the one and only Rio. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, Stan? How you doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm here. I'm blessed to be here. We got a great show in store.
Yes.
For real, for real. You ready, man?
Oh, are you ready? I'm ready.
Man, I am ready. But guess what? I'm going to go ahead and bring in the next brother. You know, popularly known as the blackest man on radio. And in this minute, he's the blackest man. You pointed to your shirt. He's the blackest man on this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in the one, the only, the legend himself, Mr. Craig
Craig.
Black.
Craig.
What up, fellas? What's going on, gentlemen? What's the deal?
What's up, Craig? How you feeling, brother?
Hey, I'm feeling real good. Rio, my
Craig.
man.
What's
My
up,
man. My man.
What's up, man?
Ain't nothing, man. You know, just living the life, living the dream, man. You know, celebrating Black history, man, making it. You know,
Yes.
Blackity, blackity, black.
I'm
Say
black
it loud.
black,
We black and
black.
proud.
Yes. Is that Miss Dub?
You beat me to it. Go ahead and acknowledge it, Craig.
Oh, I love me some Miss Dub. What's up, Miss Dub?
Miss Dub, our platform faithful, the true #1 fan. Maybe behind Mama Smoooth, the true #1 fan of the show. Miss Dub, we welcome you. Thank you for tuning in. Now, T-Bone hopefully will be on a little later, but in the meantime, in between time, please make sure that you all leave your comments for the show, especially for our special guests, and we will make sure to read them. And if you have any questions, we will make sure that we get those answers. Now, speaking of special guests, ladies and gentlemen, he's no stranger to the show. He actually welcomed us into his home. So now we're welcoming him into ours. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the 14-year NBA veteran, the one, the only, Larry Hughes.
Hey, what's going on there, fellas?
Mr. Hughes, can I call you Larry? I give respect where respect is due. What's going on, Larry? I want to welcome you in to the man cave where anything can go down. We're honored to have you here again. So you know, it's been a while since we've seen you. I feel like it's been maybe a couple of years. So the last time we saw you, we were actually at your basketball academy. Now, can you give us a quick update about what's been going on with the basketball academy?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're still going strong. You know, our goal is to help, you know, the young people develop in the game and find a love for the sport, not only teaching them on the court skills, but off the court skills as well. So we're running strong, man. The impact has been great. Obviously, I'm in St. Louis a lot, and I run into, you know, adults and kids alike that have been through the program and just tell me what a joy it's been to be in the program and to have that access or had that access. So I'm still excited about the fight and staying into the fight to do my part to help, you know, young people and families be successful.
Mm-hmm. And for those who aren't familiar with the basketball academy, go ahead and let them know, like, what inspired you to start this academy when you did, and then where can they find information? And if they want to, where can they go to register?
Well, basketball has done a lot for me in my life, and I just wanted to use those skills and things that I've learned, you know, being in professional environments to bring that back to my area, to give that to, you know, to the young people that are developing a love for the game. So, yeah, I mean, we're at the location. We're at Gravois Bluffs right now is our home location. We're doing some really good things in the area with some multiple week programming. And, you know, that website is always there. Our website, the team does a really good job of keeping everything up to date as far as contact information, as far as programs go, lhbastl.com. I mean, you can find everything, you know, going on with the program there.
Okay, cool. We also want to acknowledge Miss Dub gives her greetings to you, our #1 fan. You know, like Craig said, we love Miss Dub. Oh, we got our first comment from, who was that? At B.O.B. Solo. It said, yo, Larry, I played high school street ball with them and ones you had back in the day. Bob says, from, where's that? New Jersey, from Teaneck, New Jersey. Now, I've never heard of Teaneck, New Jersey. I don't know what that is. But shout out to New Jersey. Shout out to the East Coast. Yeah. All right, so.
Larry, I got a question, man. I just Googled Larry Hughes Basketball Academy. You have more than one location? Am I correct to say that?
Right now, we have the one location in Gravois Bluffs. We've moved out of the Chesterfield location as we go to expand into some different areas of the city.
Okay.
So that brings us to the point of just giving the access and giving the resources, using basketball as that vehicle, as that tool. So what we've thought about now is how we expand. Is what we're doing now is we're getting into these areas that we feel are underserved and don't have the resources or the access to really high level professional programming. So we've moved the locations, getting ready to start some things with the St. Louis public school system, at Live for Life Elementary School. So that's kind of the new model that we're rolling out, is to really be where the young people and give them access, and we want to be as close as possible to them.
I hear that. That's nice. That's real. I like that. Hey, let me ask you a question. I don't know how much you are into the day-to-day operations, but I was reading on your site a while ago. You had I guess a female coach. I don't know if you know, Larry. I'm based out of DC, man. Washington Wizards fan for life, man. You know what I'm saying? My Wizards, man. Come on. Hey, but you had a young lady by the name of Heather Callahan. Is she still part of your organization?
She is, and she's a huge advocate for what we do as a program. When we work with the young people and with all of the stuff that goes on with kids changing different teams or just looking for something different, she's been an advocate for us to really show that the process works. She's had a group of young ladies playing in the program in the academy for probably 4 or 5 years now, and she's done a really great job of keeping them together. So what that does for them is they see the results. They see the effort, they see the results from their effort as far as putting in the work on the court, but also staying together. So Heather is one of those, one of our confidants that, we love Heather. She's always going above and beyond for the program, always speaking the program, putting us in the highlight. So yeah, for sure, I know Heather.
Yeah, man. Tell her Craig Black said what's up. That's a good friend from back in the day in the DC area. I know she's I think she's out in the St. Louis area now. But yeah. When I saw that name, I was like, I don't even know one Heather Callahan Lope, something like that. But so I had to ask you, man. That's
I would be willing to bet that she's actually watching. She is that much in tune with our program and supports us that much that I'd be willing to bet that she's watching.
That's all right. That's good business, there, man.
So what I'm hearing is we should be expecting a comment from Heather any minute now. Heather, if you got some embarrassing story about Craig, we definitely welcome that. Here
why
on the
we gotta go there?
It's where anything can go down, man.
Wizards for life, man. I'm a Wizards fan, man. No matter what, man. No matter how bad we are, we're not tanking, okay? But y'all go ahead.
See, you know what the crazy thing is? My Bulls ain't tanking either. We just asked for the love of the game. Like, this is I don't okay, Larry, I don't need your nod of agreement. Okay?
It's a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust in the process. It's a lot of trust in the process going on right now, man. For sure.
Everybody is adapting the Philly way, and unfortunately, it's not working like it is for Philly. For my Chicago Bulls, they shipped out everybody but the mascot at the trade deadline. We ain't got to talk about it. Look, I miss. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just start being a diehard faithful watcher of college basketball because it's definitely more entertaining than. Anyway, so speaking of college basketball, yourself being a lovely SLU graduate, SLU alumni, son was following in your footsteps, going to SLU, but recently it looks like he has transferred from SLU to Cal State up in Northridge. Can you give us your thoughts on that? And I mean, I know you're supporting your son all the way through and through, but just about that transition, like what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, just supporting him 1,000%, right? His basketball journey does not have to mirror my basketball journey. Does not have to look anything like my basketball journey. So really supporting him and giving him the tools and the resources to be his own person. He had a couple good years at St. Louis University. He learned a lot, but he wanted to become his own person, become his own player. and he was actually dealing with some injuries. So we're actually in the process now working to get his third year back, which he didn't compete in many games as a medical redshirt. So he's healthy now, enjoying the game. He's out in California, so he's enjoying, the sunshine. But it's just a matter of whenever he's happy, I'm happy. So I support him 1,000%. He's doing, providing great production, out here on the West Coast. One of the top guys, in the college basketball space with shooting 3-pointer, free throws. So he's really doing his thing, and I can't be more happy for him.
Okay. So you're saying you're out there on the West Coast with him right now?
I am. Yep.
Oh, man. Enjoying that Cali weather, I am sure.
So-
we could use some of that down here in the A. It's chilly. I wasn't expecting cold weather in Atlanta. This is blowing my mind.
So I know you support your son 10,000%, but man, tell us about some of the pressures you think your son had to go through with his basketball game, looking at his father. His father's an NBA legend, a St. Louis legend. So, how did you help him deal with some of those pressures because you know how the media can be, they can talk.
Well, I think that, the outside world is the outside world. You can't control, what, people say, adults, kids. You can't control what their viewpoints are, but I always give him perspective and allowed him to think through the process. He obviously has the resources to be a great basketball player with the access to training environments and just the know-how of playing basketball. So for me, it's just about conversation, right? I want to be a great dad as opposed to being a great coach. So we have conversation about life and how life really mirrors the basketball environment and how hard you got to work as far as the, things not being given to you. The world is not fair. Basketball is not fair. So we understand that, he has the same name. He's not a junior. He's a second. So essentially, we expect him to be, greater than what I was. And if we're just talking about basketball, he has a ways to go. But as far as if you're talking about, being a person, he's miles ahead of where I was, at that age, growing up, in the environment of, basketball and just being, from St. Louis. So that's really how we approach it is, more conversation and just allow life to, mirror what basketball looks like.
That's real.
Okay. Rio, you just sitting over there soaking up all the conversation. Do you have a question for our special guest on this evening?
Oh man, let me see. I got a lot of questions. I know we got 4 questions, but my question to last.
He may have frozen up.
Yeah.
Right. That great question. Yeah, he having a little bit of Wi-Fi issue.
Well,
I
don't want to steal his thunder.
I'm gonna go down the list of questions that our producer made sure that we had to ask you, Larry.
Look, I got 2 out the way. You got one. I'm keeping the last one for
I can't do the last one. You got the last. I was going to jump right to that one. I can't talk about that one.
Go ahead. I'm intrigued about that. I'm
gonna bring up my man and his partner, man. But my dude Abe, and you're in the dispensary business, man. When I talked to Abe years ago when he told me about the venture that what y'all were doing and everything, and I was intrigued, and I wish I had damn cash money to jump in there. But how was that going right now? How was that business, that cannabis business, actually going for you right now with the dispensary?
You know what? It's been really good. It's been productive. And, at the end of the day, when you get into business or you're doing investments or you're an investor, at the end of the road, you're looking for that sale of what that business is or what that product is or whatever you created. You want somebody to value it, so much that they come in and they buy it from you or they want it. So that's essentially what happened with our dispensaries in St. Louis. Just a few months back, we've actually sold the last dispensary in St. Louis. Not because of, getting out of the business, but just because of the opportunity. Once you build something, again, that's where your profit comes in at. So we've been doing really good. The Viola brand is still strong with Al Harrington. Abe is still close with Al and what they're doing now, kind of transitioning into some of the drink products. But yeah, I mean, the cannabis business is here. It's here to stay. As Viola continues to grow, I mean, those are partners of ours. Curio is a manufacturer in St. Louis that we have ownership in, that business as well. So, we can't complain. We sit on the sidelines and kind of just watch the industry grow, watch different regulations come into play. And I think once it hits federal, the business is going to, boom all over again.
Now, I will say, when I saw the dispensary start popping up and I saw the names, I couldn't help but laugh because there was one person who I could think of who was very confused by it, and that was my mother, whose name happens to be Viola. And so when I saw that pop up, I'm like, oh, Lord. My mama said, now why they gotta call it Viola? And I couldn't help but laugh because I see where she's coming from. But I'm like, Mom, it's okay. Everybody at the church knows it's not you. So we all right. We good. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Because she was like, Lord, they done named it Viola. And I kept telling her, I'm pretty sure it's strictly coincidence. Maybe he got an auntie named Viola. I don't know how it happened.
His grandmother, Al Harrington's grandmother's name is Viola, and that's who he named the brand after he found that there was some good results from her using the cannabis as far as to the different pieces of the parts of the flower to help her with her ailing issues. So he ended up naming the company, the brand, the production after his grandmother.
And see, that's the thing that people don't recognize. Everyone wants to look down on cannabis. They want to call it that dope, that mess. But I'll put it like this. Anything that the U.S. government deems as a medical source of health, it's got to be doing something good, right? Like I've seen, because I have friends who work in the cannabis industry. I've seen the story. Well, I've seen the stories. I've heard the stories they tell me about people who are like up in age who come in and they've reached the end of like all of the things that traditional medicine can do for them, and then all the side effects from traditional medicine, as opposed to the very short, if that list even exists, side effects of cannabis intervention in like medical necessity. So I'm all for it. When I come back to the city, I will definitely make sure to shop with the brand, because they ain't nothing like supporting something that's homegrown and something that the home team definitely has a part of. Now, I want to circle
natural. Back. It comes from the earth. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
I mean, coming from where we from, it's an education process, because now at this point it's no longer a taboo. It's no longer just people that look like us are, consuming it or moving it, right? It's becoming to the corporate. It's becoming to the corporate space. So when you get into the business, you start to understand the educational values and the medical values of it, and it just makes a lot of sense. And I like tell people all the time, like it's, your neighbor, is probably consuming the person that you thought, would never be in that, smoking or whatever it is. Like they're probably using it as far as, whatever reasons that they may be using it for. So it's no longer a taboo issue.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. I can't. I'm weak. I'm not a smoker. So when after my workouts, I do some edible. I do edible. I got some young lady here in the DC area that does this popcorn, man. I'm telling you, man. After my workout, a little bike ride I do, and man, I eat a little bit of popcorn after my meal. Out like a light. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I wake up like no aches, no pains. Back not hurting, knees not hurting. It's a wonderful thing, man. It's a wonderful thing.
Sure.
What Cat Williams say? It's just a plant, and if you should just so happen to set it on fire,
it's a flower.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Look, God made it. It came from the earth. The earth ain't never hurt nobody. But, all right, Rio, are you there?
You guys, can y'all see me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
we
can.
can
Yes,
see
we
you.
can.
We can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I don't
so
know if the Wi-Fi crumbled under the pressure. I never would have thought that out of all the Wi-Fis that would need some milk, it would come from the home from HQ. I have never, but hopefully we got that. Well, I have. I've been on the show and a half before, but hopefully we got
yeah,
that situated. Rio, your question
my
for
question,
Larry Hughes,
my question
14
is,
time
my question
NBA.
is, Larry,
Vet.
since your son departed from SLU and went on his own journey, how has your relationship been with SLU? Not just because of what he done, but you as as a graduate of SLU and a player at SLU, how has your relationship been?
It's been fine, man. It's been fine. Like I said, he had to step away because he wasn't healthy. Right? I mean, anytime you're not healthy, that weighs on obviously your ability to, physically do your job, but also mentally, do your job. So he wasn't healthy, and they understood that, and they were willing enough to help him, make the decision that if he decides to step away, they will completely support it. So I have, respect for those guys down there with helping him through this process. So there's no issues there. We just watched the game last night. Obviously, they took a loss, but they've been playing great this year. Kellen is one of our guys, so we always tap in to see what Kellen is doing. C. Tate is still down there, so we always want to make sure that he's doing well. So the relationship is fine. I, again, respect those guys for helping him through this process of getting his medical red shirt back, but also just being there for him.
Good.
I want to throw in a little freebie question, and I know my producer probably gonna start laughing about it. But when we look at the recent games of SLU, one in particular, SLU going up against VCU. Now,
Why you
the
had to
way
throw?
the game
Why you
ended,
had to do that, Stan? Why you had to say
huh?
VCU? You are from
What?
Virginia. Why you had to
Uh,
throw the VCU game?
I mean, it's only appropriate, right? We have Virginia representation, St. Louis representation, DMV representation. It's just well represented. We had to bring it up. Now,
Okay.
for two consecutive times, so for those of you who don't know what consecutive means, it means one right after the other. But when VCU has come to St. Louis, the game has ended with a little, rendition or reenactment of the Jerry Springer show. I don't know if our producer has a clip from this last escapade, but I would say though the fight started a different way, it ended all the same with fisticuffs being blown. Now, do you think that after the two incidents, do you think the NCAA and the A10 will kind of find a way to, well, not A10, dear Lord, I'm sorry. Do you think they would find a way to kind of separate the possibility of SLU and VCU having further games if this is going to be the outcome? Because, fool me one time, shame on you. But if you fool me twice, that's something has to be done. And if you get to a third time, like J. Cole said, and you in the city of St. Louis, we don't need it ending that way.
No, I don't, man. Those are conference games. Conference games are obviously, tough games, especially, late in the year. But then you also got to think about, historically,
Mhm.
Dayton, VCU, SLU, those guys are traditionally at the top, in some form of fashion. So they're always battling every year. Even though players are now starting to, move around and transfer, so it's different bodies, different faces. Like those universities still hold, the fan bases still hold, onto that energy. So no, I think it's healthy for the game. Obviously, you don't want to, get into the extra physical part, but the rivalry part of it, the expectation that there's going to be a battle part of it, like I love it because, you mentioned early on is like start watching college versus watching the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Those college guys, I mean, they're getting after it, right? I mean, they're trying everything that they can to win a basketball game, to win their conference championship, and then to make it to the tournament. So once you start messing around with that, you take away, a little bit of that edge, then that the product may suffer some. You never want to see guys get into, fist fights or whatever, but you definitely want to see like the competitive, fire at all costs.
Okay.
I got a question for you, Larry. Are you a fan of the NIL? Are you a fan of the new
Oh
the
Lord.
new yeah? I gotta ask the new
From the political stuff.
I guess the new basketball, the new college sports platform. You know, paying the kids. Are you a fan of that?
I'm a fan of it. I just think it's not labeled what it actually is, right? Name, image, and likeness is for someone that has some sort of cachet, somebody that has, a platform, or have created this environment where people are looking for them or can be noticed, outside or off the court. What's happening in this space is like you're really paying for performance, and I would like for them to call it, what it is, right? You're bringing these kids in, you're paying them these dollars because you want them to perform. So labeling it name, image, and likeness when a lot of these kids were paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars, don't necessarily have a name, image, and likeness that people are going to buy and support, then it just really turns down to, pay for play. And I'm fine with that because now we can all be held accountable. If you're not doing your job, then next man up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love it. I'm a proponent of you should be getting paid when you was in college. I believe you all the notoriety and the fanfare you brought to your school. It was they made millions off your back. You know what I'm saying? So I think the kids right now they're getting their just due. I say it all the time. They're doing it for our ancestors, and I hate to say it, but you are one of them ancestors.
Dang,
That's why I only stayed for 1 year. That's why I was only there for 1 year.
You got up out of there and grab that bag because it's real. It's so real. And I just think right now, I watch a lot of talking heads. We doing this podcast thing, but I'm talking about the other guys that are on these big channels, and a lot of people are putting a lot of blame on the kids. They trying to put the kids down because they're moving around and they're taking the money and these contracts and that contract. I was like, well, the coaches, been doing it for years, and the system set all this up. So why are you putting this pressure on these kids? These kids are the ones that they deserve all this,
Yeah, I think the system is broken. I think they, through all the readings and the information comes out, it seems that they're trying to right, some of these things as far as it being money that's coming to the kids actually from the university, as opposed to, building these collectives where, like, these kids go to schools and they don't know if the collective is going to survive, through the 10 months or through the 12 months, when they're at the actual school. So I do think that there's value with, having, that revenue sharing that's coming directly from the school. And even if it's a small amount, I know you got your Power 5 and you got your smaller schools, there still should be a level of sharing that goes on with the team versus, having these other things that are set up, because it's not a fair shake, right? That's why you see a lot of kids transfer, because now they need to move up in order to earn a certain dollar amount, because it's not available for them at another school, or maybe a lower school, or maybe a school that actually fits them well. So they have to take that move to actually capitalize, on that year of service. So I understand it. I advise on it all the time. So I just think that the NCAA as a whole needs to get a better handle, a better grasp on what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Rio, you got a question for Larry?
Yeah, Larry. What do you think about SLU moving to the Big East Conference?
They've been talking about it for years. The travel with, the A10 is, I would assume it would be pretty similar to, your Big East travel. There's, Butler and schools like that are a little bit closer in proximity.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the value of the Big East gives a little bit more than the value of the A10. So any chance that you get to put your players and your programs in a better position where they're the funding is there, the exposure is there, the facilities are there, the university access and resources are there, I think it makes sense. And I don't think that, the A10 to the Big East is a lateral move. I do think that that's a move up in league.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are encouraging you to leave your comments and your questions for the NBA legend, Mr. Larry Hughes, one of St. Louis's finest, as we continue to go through the show. Now, I've got one last question, and then we're going to move to these topics. Now, throughout your 14-year career, you had the opportunity to play with a lot of legends, a lot of good role players. One legend in particular is still playing at a level that most do not reach, as he is in his 23rd season. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. LeBron James. Now, as you see him in his 23rd year and his production and the way that he's still able to play, I don't know a lot of 23-year veterans that are still able to slam the ball the way that LeBron is. What through your knowledge and your relationship with LeBron, what does it mean to see him go for the record-breaking 23rd season? And more importantly, do you think, or no, I'll ask the first question, and the second question is, when it comes time for his retirement, knowing LeBron, how do you think he'll go about it? Do you think it'll be the grandiose exit, or could he simply at the end of this season pull another long written letter and just say, yeah, I'm done?
Yeah, that's the one I'm still kind of on the fence with. I think Bron can go another 2 to 3 seasons, obviously, if the minutes are modified and the team is kind of built around that process of transitioning into something different than him being the focal point. He's still out there doing his thing, man, and I'm happy for him. The longer you play, the more opportunities you get to be torn down. The higher you get, it allows more people to try to pull you down. So I think that he's welcoming this phase of it. I think he's having fun with it. I saw him as a younger guy, and now I hear him as an older guy, and I can hear the experience. I can hear the knowledge of where he's come from and what he's learned over the years. I mean, once you first get into the league, you're listening, you have your eyes wide open, you're picking up things, and as you get a little bit more seasoned, you start to really tell people how you feel. You start to really act how you want to act. And I'm just happy that he's in a space where he can do whatever the hell he wants to do because he's put in the work. And I think like the thing that sticks out to me the most is his slogan of strive for greatness. And I think that's what's kept him around for so long, is that he's really been loyal to that tagline, as striving for greatness, meaning he prepares his body, prepares his mind, stays out of the, off the court stuff. So that's what I'm, really happy for him, that he gets a chance to really go about things at his own pace. And not a lot of us get a chance to leave on our own. I mean, we just saw it with Chris Paul this season. Not a lot of guys get the chance to go out on our own accord. And I'm hoping that he'll be, one of those guys that can actually go out, on his own mark. He's healthy, looking like he can, do, like I said, another couple years. But that is the one thing that I do, obviously recognize, is that most of us, even MJ for that matter, we don't all exit, the way we want to exit.
That's real.
Now,
That's real.
you mentioned Chris Paul as a actual member, a former member of the National Basketball Association, being a part of that brotherhood, that fraternity of men that play that sport. I have one last question for you, then we're gonna get into these topics. Rio, you know where I'm going. Craig don't want to hear it, but I'm gonna ask it.
I just said it, Stan. We about to go there. Yeah.
Larry, in your expertise, would you say that Chris Paul is a superstar in the NBA?
Yes.
And with that, I rest my case.
Hey, you know what? I can go home for real.
We can wrap this show right now. We can.
Hey, Larry, man, they setting me up, Larry. That was just a setup. This whole thing was a little setup for me, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
No,
I would
Rio,
definitely have to give
Rio
him
has
that.
no part in this. This was just look. We didn't tell him to mention Chris Paul. He mentioned Chris Paul himself. All right, we ain't do it. We didn't tell him in the past. We didn't give him a rundown of things to say in his answers. He didn't even know I was gonna bring up LeBron. See,
For the record, I have nothing against Chris Paul. No issues with
but
him at all. I have nothing against
finish
this
it.
man. But I do not think he's a superstar. And I'm gonna stick to my guns. It is what it is. I don't know. That's just my opinion of the man. And I guess when I define the word superstar, I look at somebody where you had to run home to your TV to make sure you saw his game that night. And he was the one that just brought in the crowds. Everybody was coming to see him. I don't know. He's a great player. Chris Paul's he's an all-star. He's a great player, but that's just my opinion.
Anytime they give you those three, like they don't call him Chris Paul, like he is CP or he is CP3. Like that's when you start to know that the guy really carries like stuff. Melo, MJ, Bron, like those are really, signifies like, okay, these guys are a little bit different than, the rest of the group.
Okay.
For me. For me.
When you get to initials and one name status, you're a superstar, man. Come on, Craig. I don't know. Like we've been Larry, we've been trying to tell him for months now.
I just won't.
Did I swing the table?
Yeah, you got him feeling real good right now. That's what I got. You got them. Yeah, it's like I finally lost this argument.
It's played the game. Not none of us spectators. From someone who actually played it at that level.
Yeah.
Now, in the days where you would go play in New Orleans at the time of Chris Paul's tenure, and then after he left, did you see the difference? Like, did it seem like the city wasn't all in whenever you would go to New Orleans to play against the Hornets? Like, did it just feel like, did you sense a difference from the before Chris Paul or the during Chris Paul? And I could say before, during, and after.
Yep.
Like the way that it felt, it wasn't. You can't make that. You can't make that happen. It has to happen naturally. He revitalized the heart of New Orleans basketball, Craig. Who was David West before Chris Paul? I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna change subjects real quick because I got a great question for Mr. Hughes.
He said we could call him Larry.
Since you played with both of these gentlemen, who's the man, LeBron or MJ?
And man, just for me, it's always been MJ. Obviously, the accolades and all those things go with it. Obviously, I was able to put my eyes on MJ, especially coming up during that time of really getting the basketball bug, and just his whole mentality, the whole aura that he brings to the table. Now, Bron is right there. I mean, it's same competitive vibe, just doing it a different way. But for me, it's always a simple question. I mean, a simple answer is MJ is the greatest that I've ever seen to do it. So, MJ.
Understood. Now, when you have this conversation with some of the young players that you're around, these young players that come through your academy, and all they've seen is LeBron, do y'all get into these debates? Or y'all had this back and forth about who's the one, who's the man?
No, you don't even fight it, right? You don't even fight it because as the adult, I have to have the perspective and the understanding that this is really the only guy that they've seen. And for a guy to go to as many finals as he's gone to win championships, to be on every commercial, that's who's been in front of them. And a guy that's, 6'9", 270 pounds, like you don't see guys move like that with that sort of basketball IQ. So these young guys that are coming up, I mean, it's completely a wow factor. And not only did they get to see him for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, like they've seen him on a 15-year run. So there's no way that you can say he's not the greatest that they've seen because, essentially he is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right.
All right. All right.
Something's happening. Somebody opening a cake pan. I know that sound. That just sounded real obese. That was that was real obese right now. You know what?
That's sad.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Man Cave. We have Larry Hughes in the building. We gonna move right into these topics. Now, Larry, this first topic that we have is called "What's the Word?" So essentially anything that's caught your eye in sports over the last couple days, last week, last month that you want to talk about. This is the moment where we bring it up. So I want to ask you, Larry, what's the word?
Jason Tatum getting healthy enough to, have an option, to return. We've always told him, take it easy. But with all the reports and everything, he's back into practice. So that's one of the things that I'm keeping my eye on is when he'll finally, get out there.
Yeah, that's one of your kids. That's your man Justin's son. So I'll be honest with you, man. My personal, I would want him to go ahead and sit out. I want him to be 150% when he comes back. I don't want, I think the team is they're gonna be good this year, and he could, if he does come back, he would be the catalyst. He would probably take them to the next level. I just don't want to see him get hurt again. My biggest thing, I just don't want to see him go down again. So I think, sitting out the rest of this season and coming back 150% next year would be the best move. But, money, the game is the game.
So I look at it from a lens of the fan, more importantly, a guy who is still a fan, sometimes reluctantly, of the Chicago Bulls. I always think about when I see players go down with serious injuries and the timeline to come back. I look at it how I looked at when Derrick Rose tore his ACL. There were all the reports of he could return this season, but he didn't play a single game that season coming back from the ACL. There were all those fake tweets from fake pages when they were playing in the playoffs, and he was like, man, I don't like the way they're doing my team. I'm coming back tomorrow, and we gonna win this thing. And I used to think all the tweets were real, so I was excited. And then when I didn't see him play, I was upset. But then when he would come back, it was just like he couldn't escape that injury bug. I see Jason Tatum. I see he goes down with the ACL tear. He's back practicing. Of course, the technology has advanced in the 10 plus years since Derrick Rose tore his ACL. And this is ACL versus Achilles. Those are two different areas of the leg, but still all important to the game of basketball. But I see what happened with Derrick Rose, how he just injury after injury. And then the mental wear and tear also, not just physical, but the mental of going through an injury that serious. I see the way it happens. And when I look at Jason Tatum, like Craig said, now I feel like Craig has different PTSD because he's also a Commanders fan, and everything that happened with Jaden Daniels and then rushing him back from injury. And it just didn't work the way it should have, which we all said on this show, sit him down for the entire season. And so I just feel like Craig said, Boston is they're in an okay position right now with the way the season is going, and we're reaching the end. I think the regular season ends in about a month and a half or so.
Yep.
Something like that. So unless it was strictly just to enhance your chances of a playoff push, which in all honesty may be needed because the East is looking freakishly good in some areas right now. Like there are some teams that we weren't expecting. Like Craig said off air, the Pistons, I'm still shocked at how they're doing this. But just with all the teams in the East, I would want him to sit out. But at the same time, if you're trying to get this ring, I would understand. I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be happy. All I'm going to say is I understand if he were to come back at some point this season. Rio, what are your thoughts?
my thought is this. Let's say he does come back.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the way I just looked at the standings. They second in the East. I think they 14 games back, maybe less. They've been doing well. With the addition of him coming back, the team will have to adjust to him being back on the team. Not saying that it'll be a negative way, not saying it'll be a positive way. I mean, you're looking at it like a 50-50. The same way they've been playing without him. You know, some teams play better when they don't have a superstar. Then some teams play worse when they don't have them. I'm just thinking from a fan aspect, if he does come back, that makes them better, yes, on paper. But as you get ready to go into this playoff stretch, I think it would be beneficial just to have him there just for key minutes in the game. Because I know he's going to have a minutes restriction. I know he's not going to be a big 30, 20 some odd minute player when he comes back. I know they're going to probably put him on a minutes restriction. Then my other thing is, Larry, with the way this technology is, why do we see so many injuries now as compared to what they were in the past? I mean, like when you played, you didn't see a lot of these ACL, Achilles injuries. Now it seems more common now, not just in basketball. I'm talking about in sports overall.
Yeah, man, that's the thing that we've talked about in the basketball space, trying to understand what's the cause, or if there's anything that we can do preventative that can help with the different injuries, especially with the Achilles now. But the game is really fast now, and there's a lot of starts and stops. There's a lot of possessions. There's more possessions than when I played.
Yeah.
So there's more guys moving in space, covering space. So I really would attribute it to that, is just guys needing to cover more space and do it at a much faster rate that allows your body has to start and stop. So that would be what I would, kind of lean towards. But again, it's when you get these competitors out there, like some of these guys are actually injured already, and they're just kind of trying to plan through things. So when you play through things, you overcompensate. So you deal with calves, so you deal with sore knees. And again, like you said, Stan, there's a trickle down effect in the lower half. If something is not aligned properly, then you're more susceptible to hurting something else. So I do think it's like a collection of those things, the game being faster, and just what we have to put our bodies through, what they have to put their bodies through at this point.
For sure. Moving on. Who's next? Rio. What's the word, brother? What you want to talk about?
Oh, well, Larry brought it up. I've been following Tatum as well. The only other thing I got is I don't know if y'all watched the Winter Olympics, but it was kind of awkward to have two U.S. skiers go down in the same spot during the Winter Olympics. That was kind of funny to me. It sounds very suspect, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. So that's pretty much my word right there. I would kind of like investigate that if I was the U.S. Olympic Committee, to see why these two U.S. skiers went down in the same spot.
Yeah. So when I look at the two that went down, when it comes to Lindsay, I don't want to discredit her and the what happened with that moment, because I think she's had 3 surgeries.
You talking about Lindsay?
Yeah, I think they said she had 3 surgeries on that leg to help repair what was going on. But then I also heard that she, going into the Olympics, was on a torn ACL. Was that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my thing is, if you're going in with a rehab torn ACL, like we said, like we just said about the Jason Tatum, the Derrick Rose situation, when you don't take that proper time to real deal heal that thing, Now, yes, the incident and the accident on the slope, it does seem a little suspicious that like you said, two U.S. Olympians went down in the same spot. But it's just like when you throw in also, like they get major air when they go up, and you coming down with all your body weight, the weight of the gear that you have on, and are already not 100% knee. It's just it's one of those moments where it's a like 50-50 risk versus the reward, and unfortunately, the risk is what prevailed rather than the reward of actually completing her. I can't even think of the word. Like completing her segment, her section, completing her run. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
And so, unfortunately, it just. I mean, best wishes and best luck to Lindsay as she continues this extenuous rehab process now. Because after 3 surgeries, that's three consecutive surgeries. It's crazy. But when I look at it like that, when it comes to Lindsay, I have to take into account the previous injuries. Now, for the other skier, that's just some. That's almost like when Alex Smith got injured and his leg did the same thing that the other quarterback did in the same stadium at the same spot on the field. And it's just those freak accidents do happen. But again, I'm wishing the best for Lindsey Vonn and for the other skier whose name is escaping me right now. But I'm just wishing them both the best.
Yeah, Craig, I'll let you go because I have no idea who went down during the winter. I know Lindsey Vonn because she's like one of the household names within the sport, and just her being a competitor, wanting to go out on her own terms, essentially knowing that she probably wasn't healthy enough to complete the run. It would have been, not a miracle, but it would have took a lot of things to go right for her to accomplish what she was trying to accomplish. But for me, I just chalk it up to her being a competitor and wanting to go out, on her own terms. I'm sure she was probably advised not to compete or, the risk that was associated with it. But when you're an athlete at that level, high level athlete, you don't think it's going to be you. So I think that was part of the situation is that, her wanting to go out on her own terms, and finish with the bang. And it unfortunately didn't work out, the way she would wanted it to.
Oh man, I had one more too. So.
All right, Craig, your thoughts, if any, on the freak accident of the injuries at the
I was
same
reading
spot.
I was reading the producer's message. She almost lost her leg.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was that serious. I didn't know
it was bad.
I didn't know it was that bad. Wow.
Johnson.
Breezy Johnson was the other skier.
Okay.
So I didn't see it. I did see some of the headlines about her going down, and it's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast. I mean, it's a 4-year wait, so them jumping out there and going out there knowing they still have that injury is kind of expected. They're going to get out there because they have to wait another 4 years for the Olympics to come around. So it's like, hey, let's see if I can go. Let's see if I can make it happen. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for her. But I don't know. My word staying within these Olympics is I gotta applaud the ladies, the female hockey team for winning that gold medal and making a political statement. I always love some politics, man. You throw them into sports, man. They did not show up to the State of the Union. They they took that invitation and said no, thank you. So
that's a polite way.
Yeah. And with the ladies, I'm riding with the ladies. I'm down with them. They got that goal. We have our first black hockey player to win a gold medal on the USA team, and they made a stand. And from that, by turning down the invitation to go to the White House, they actually Layla Edwards, yeah. that dude, who was he? I can't remember his name, Flavor Flav. He put it out there to Vegas. They're gonna do a big celebration. The Vegas is gonna make it happen. They just giving the hotel, the show tickets. They getting massages. They getting everything they need. They're gonna have a big celebration in Vegas for them. So I just think, sometimes you gotta stand up for what's right, and that's shout out to the men too for winning the gold. But anyway, that's my word, man. I'm riding with the ladies, man.
They got to be careful when it comes to professional sports and massages. We've seen that go wrong plenty of times. Look, all I'm saying is it ain't a good look right now. But then again, that's on the men's side. Maybe the women gonna have some
Robert
sense
Kraft
over here and not,
Tuckers.
the Deshaun the masseuse monger Watsons. Got them all. All right, so I guess I got two words. Keeping with the spirit of the Olympics. Shout out to St. Louis's own and a good friend of Jason Tatum's, Mr. Matthew Tkachuk. They've mirrored the same paths in their respective sports, Jason winning the NBA Finals, Matt winning the Stanley Cup, and now both of them are St. Louis products, and they both now have Olympic gold medals. Matthew Tkachuk being a part of the U.S. hockey team that won gold, I believe, in an overtime victory against Canada. Now, the tweets were going crazy. Everybody was quoting Justin Trudeau when he said, "You can't have our country and you can't have our sport." And they were like, yeah, about that. Because to beat Canada in hockey, in the Olympics, that's a feat. I love how, every 4 years the country comes together in unity to support, our team. But then as soon as it's over, we're right back to America as it is. But I don't want to get too political. That's another story for another time. But that's one of my words. My second word, we've been talking about injuries, right? Now, Larry, playing basketball, you're prone to injuries. When you're playing baseball, football, soccer, just the contact or non-contact physical activity sports, you are prone to injuries. But my question is this: what do you do when you injure yourself in one of the most safest sports possible? How do you do that? Matter of fact, instead of me trying to tell you what happened, I believe that I can show you what happened. Oh, producer, if we could roll that beautiful bean footage, please.
This gives Justin 4 more outs. At 10 would now give him an ace-high straight in the victory. So Justin Smith must catch a king.
There's the board. Can he escape?
Oh, it's a 10. Oh! Back-to-back double-ups by Justin Smith, drawn out both times, Vince, to stay alive.
And look how excited he is, his fans, his friends.
We'll fix that tomorrow. Let's go.
Wait a minute, Vince. Something's wrong out there.
We'll operate it on it tomorrow with the million.
Yeah, there's something very wrong. He's doubled over. He's really in pain.
Yeah, it snapped.
What the? This is no bluff, let me tell you.
Poker injury. I told you this is an injury sport. They say that poker's not a sport, but this is like...
Well, this is pretty serious. People are rushing to Justin's side.
I'm really hoping it'll be okay. I'm able to play. I'll play it out.
Tournament officials have stopped the clock. We're going to find out what's going on, and we'll be right back right after this.
Now, how in the world?
It's bad.
Who the hell you find that
at? Twitter is a crazy place, man. Twitter is a wild environment. I was just scrolling in and I see this video. He was like, man, tears ACL playing poker. I'm like, poker? Like, poker? Like, Texas Hold'em, put your cards down, poker? How you do that? You got so excited. See, so now what they're going to do is they're probably going to implement training when you before you go to a poker game. They're going to have a nice little gym set up. You're gonna have to do leg day, arm day, because you definitely need your arms, because when you're dealing the cards and pushing all your chips in and all that good stuff. But to see that video, I immediately sent it to Smoooth. Not to poke fun, but just to say, now how in the world, by playing poker, do you leave with a big bank and now a potentially big hospital bill for an ACL repair surgery? That's one of the craziest things
The funny
that
part
I have ever seen.
He said, I think I can play. I think I continue to play.
I think
like
I
he had to go out
to
there
play.
and
Like
run up
he
and
got
down
to
the court.
stand the whole time.
Those quick twitch muscles, man. Quick twitch muscles. You got to be prepared to, take steps and slide steps and quick steps. Even in poker, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta look, man. He needs to find some training regimens to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Now, before we move any further, ladies and gentlemen, he is here, fresh off of watching two teams, one of which being a division rival, play a Super Bowl on his team's home turf. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the resident 49er fan, excuse me, the one and the only, Mr. T-Bone Funk.
I come on here, I rush, get out of school, get out of class, and I rush to get on here, and that's the intro I get. Man, I tell you. But you know what? I'm going to let that go, Stanton. I'm going to say hi to what's up to all the fellas, Rio, Craig Black, Larry Hughes. What's up, fellas? But, this also gives me the perfect time to say, how did none of y'all just say that you need to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and maybe not run? You know what I'm saying? That's all.
I mean, he didn't know how to walk away either after that, He had to know how to hobble.
Hey, look.
You got to crawl before you walk, though. That's what they say.
There you go.
But T-Bone, what's the word? What's going on, brother? It's good to see you. Fresh out of class, looking like you're ready to say my client has no comment at this time. I didn't know what was going on when you came on camera. I'm like, uh-oh, we about to get a strict legal proceeding from Lay the Law.
I am, as many of people would say, I am not a lawyer. I am not your lawyer. So I am a law student. That is all I am at this time, and that's all I will be for at least another year.
All right, cool. You already said hello to our guest, Larry Hughes. I believe we had a comment from Miss Dub acknowledging your presence. Acknowledge her as such, T-Bone.
I did acknowledge her. I held up the ones and I said, hello, Miss Dub.
Held up the ones. I love it. That's a wrestling reference for those who don't understand. So you've come in at a great time. It is one of our beloved segments. So T-Bone. Well, no. First of all, I believe Rio had a question, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no, we're gonna go ahead and press forward. I'm gonna say that question to the next topic that we about to
We're gonna press on forward. Now, T-Bone, what's the word, brother? What's been going on in sports that you would like to talk about? Perhaps a Super Bowl or something of that nature?
You can talk about the Super Bowl, and hey, look, I can't be mad. I can't be happy. My team wasn't in the Super Bowl, but I can't be mad. I mean, they did make it as far as they did on injured reserves. So look, as long as they keep making it to the playoffs and making it far, as a fan, I can't be mad. And you know what? Congrats to the team that won the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks. Good to represent the NFC. There you go.
I mean, well, don't sell yourself too short, T-Bone. Your team was at the Super Bowl. They were gracious hosts. They laid out the locker rooms real nice. They made sure the refreshments were there. They made sure the turf was good. Everybody was taken care of.
Unless anyone on this show is a Seattle Seahawks fan, can't nobody say nothing to me that's gonna upset me, man.
I mean, it wasn't upsetting. It's just the truth. Like, that's what happened. It was at Levi Stadium. So such a beautiful facility.
It is
so open and spacious.
I can say that firsthand from being there at least one time.
Yeah, my financial situation has not allowed me to go so far. I don't have an arm and a leg and half of a car loan to pay for a ticket, but I'll get there one day. I will walk that field. I don't know how, but I'm gonna get there.
Sports did happen, since the Super Bowl. I got a chance because of the random times that it was on. I got a chance to watch some of the Olympic Games, and you know what? I really want to go skiing again, and don't have the time because of this class. But look, all those
again. You've gone skiing before?
Many times.
Okay.
Specifically up in Pennsylvania, Seven Springs Mountain Resort. I mean, y'all not paying us right now.
You know about Seven Springs.
If you,
you know about Seven Springs Resort in Pennsylvania.
Hey, you know what, Craig? I'm sure we know some people. We probably know some people up in that area. Shout out to the Kennedys up there. The
good Kennedys. The good ones.
These are Kennedys that look like us.
The good ones.
But yeah, I've been up there a bunch of times. That's my favorite place. One of my favorite places to go.
That's one of the best black ski spots around Seven Springs, boy. That's a classic spot right there, boy.
I will tell you that there is a chance that you can get lost on some snowmobiles, but that's another story for another day.
Oh yeah, we will definitely discuss that on another day. Matter of fact, let me make a note of that right now. Getting lost on a snowmobile? Do they not have a GPS built in on that thing?
I tell you what, I will make a whole short explaining that whole story that you go up on the Platform Sports Talk Show feed. You can catch us on YouTube, I'm sorry, what are the other ones? That's right. Catch us at 314 Sports Talk on X, at Platform Sports Talk on Instagram, YouTube, the Platform Sports Talk Show, and Facebook of the same name. And don't forget Hot 365, where it's always hot. Come on, check us out. And make sure when you go on YouTube, you go on and you click that bell. And that way you will be notified when we go live.
Heck yeah. So what you're saying is this story about this snowmobile mishap will be off the record.
I see what you're doing there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So now that the gang is all here, -1, shout out to Sadar. We hope you feel better soon. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, a couple weeks ago, if not last week, no, it's been a couple weeks, we had to sit through yet another, I'm not going to call it good, I'm not going to call it bad. I'm just going to say we had another NBA All-Star weekend. Now, before we get into that, I just want to say NBA All-Star weekend is a scam. And let me tell you why. Out of all the people to have participate in the NBA All-Star weekend, y'all went and got somebody who ain't played a single damn game? Excuse me? I'm talking about the one, the only, the now 3-time NBA All-Star 3-point contest champion, Damian Lillard. He ain't played one game this season. He been at home chilling. He been watching the Trailblazers play, but no, the NBA came a call and be like, hey, Dame, save our All-Star weekend. Which I'm guessing that's what the conversation was. But when it comes to saving All-Star weekend, the thing you want to save is the flipping 3-point contest. Not the dunk contest, not the game itself, but the 3-point contest in a league where everybody shoots 3-pointers like they're free throws. Like what are we doing here? Make me want to holler, throw up my hands. What are we doing here?
The dunk contest is dead.
What the are we doing here? You said the dunk contest is dead. Elaborate, Craig. Let us know.
I just think they just need to get rid of it. It's not. Bring in dunkers from other leagues. I think Shaq got a dunk show on TNT.
Yes, he does.
Shaq, I think Gary Payton's on there too.
I think they just need to go ahead and just make it's entertainment. We don't need the NBA players to actually do the dunking. They do their dunking in the game, and it looks great. We still get all them highlights. It's a beautiful thing. But the display on All-Star Weekend it's not what it used to be. So just revamp it, bring in some specialized dunkers and let them just entertain the crowd. If you're going to keep it, because right now it's not it's not good. And but everything else about the All-Star Weekend was excellent outside of that dunk contest. Everything else was that new format really worked. I thought that new format of the All-Star game really worked. And I thought Dame Dollar in Dame time, he came in and he did his thing, man. That was good. I liked it.
I feel like there need to be requirements for participation in All-Star Weekend festivities. Number one, you got to play at least 27 games. I'll say 27. I ain't gonna say at least half the season. At least 27 games you got to participate.
It's entertainment, though. That everything outside of the actual game is entertainment. So I don't.
So you mean to tell me you can come on and
that.
shoot a ball, but you can't come on and help your piss poor Portland Trailblazers? You love Portland that much, but you good enough to shoot, but you ain't good enough to endure the regular stuff.
Yeah.
Is shooting not a part of the game?
That Achilles is a tough injury, right? I mean, we got to remember that. So he's not too far removed from it. Him, being able to stand in one spot, move to a couple spots, and shoot the basketball. That was really all that we're gonna get from Dame this year. But he brought the show. Like Dame brought the show. If he'd have came out there and missed all of his shots, then we would have been, having a different conversation. But he actually came out and shot the ball well.
Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. He was shooting the ball pretty well. But at the same time, it's like, do we expect anything less from Dame Dollar? Hell, him and Steph popularized the logo 3.
Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't wave him off after he won. That would have just been that would have been real disrespectful. Devin Booker would have tore his hairpiece off. I mean, allegedly, like that would have just been a disrespect. Like just to wave you off after coming back, not playing a single game, and to wave you off after losing, that would be crazy. But Craig, like you said about the dunk contest, I can't even say bring in star dunkers, like people who just dunk. They did that. That's how Mac McClung got in the league, in the G League, and then he got signed to teams. They just brought him in for the dunk contest. And even he said, I'm tired of this. Y'all not going to use me for my hop abilities. And he said,
they should have built off of that. That's what I'm saying. It was a good idea to bring Matt McClung in. That was smart, and that was it was entertaining and he did his thing. They should have kept on that in that model, I think, and brought in guys that are just dunkers, because you ain't, it's just, I don't know. The players, I don't think their heart is in it, and just the whole format of it. It ain't. It's terrible, man. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch after they miss one dunk, they miss the second dunk, the third dunk. You're like, come on, man. This
one dude almost caught a concussion.
Yeah, and then, yeah, and then you almost have a fatality out there. It's sad to say that was probably one of the most entertaining things out there, and that's messed up. Somebody got to get hurt to get some entertainment out here. That was crazy. That's I don't know.
It wasn't I can't remember his first name. Johnson, the winner who performed the basic in-game dunks and then decided to dress it up with a little dancey dance. Boy, if you don't go sit your shucking and jiving tail down doing all this dancing, dance a good dunk. How about that? Some people say we haven't been entertained by a dunk contest since the legendary contest of 2016 between Aaron Gordon and Zach Levine, who, been riding the coattails of that dunk contest for the last 10 years. But I'm going to let it go. He ain't the Bulls' problem no more. He over there with the Kings. Let's see. T-Bone, did you get a chance to watch any of the NBA All-Star Weekend?
Well,
couple weekends.
I did, but before we get to that, I think Rio had a question.
Oh yeah, Rio, your question. My bad.
Yeah, my question was for Larry. That year you participated in the dunk contest. with Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. I can't remember who else was in there that year. Steve Francis was in there. How was the aura then when you competed compared to what you see now?
It was pretty much the same. I mean, you have like one or two guys that are really interested in the dunk contest. It's kind of what they do. But for the most part, you know, in that dunk contest I was in, I mean, we saw Vince, you know, in warm-ups taking the ball and dropping it through the basket without touching the rim. So we all kind of figured it was going to be a long night. So whatever he was ready to do, you know, he was gonna do it. He was gonna carry the party. So for me, I was just enjoying being there for All-Star Weekend. It's my second year in the league, getting a chance to go to all the parties, you know, hanging out. I came in during the lockout season, so this was really my official, you know, first really NBA, you know, All-Star Weekend experience, and I had a ball. I made one dunk. Didn't have the legs; they were left at the club. But, you know,
we appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, but we had, you know, Vince was in there, like you said. T-Mac was in there. Jerry Stackhouse was in there. Steve Francis, you mentioned. You know, those are all guys that, you know, we talk about in-game dunks. Like, you know, they're going to be really, really good in-game dunks versus, you know, the setup of the slam dunk contest.
Now I got one more. Do you kind of do you feel as though LeBron could be sort of a reason why these superstar players, quote superstar players, do not participate in the dunk contest? The way they play and the way they finish in in-game situations, because I mean LeBron will finish at the rim. You got a lot of players that's out there that you see that finish at the rim better in the games than they do when it's a dunk contest.
It's a different sort of experience because it's not scripted, right? When you're in the game, you know, you got adrenaline pumping, you got, you know, catching the guy at a bad angle, you know, getting to your launch pad before that guy gets to his launch pad. So just a lot of things, you know, just happen within the course of the game that you get an extra boost. You can hit a guy in an in-game dunk and get a little bit higher just because you hit that guy. So that makes the dunk look better. So I think for me, I would just much rather, you know, do in-game dunks versus kind of staging and putting on a show. But some guys don't necessarily want to put on a show. Everybody's not a showman. Like the guy that won it, you know, dancing after every dunk. Like, I'm not going to dance after dunking the basketball. So it kind of goes with the all-star experience. So I like what Craig says, man, bring in those guys and jump off trampolines and, you know, give you the high flying shows and let that entertain us until we get to the next segment of, you know, All-Star Weekend.
You know, obviously I'm the one who has the wrestling background here. And a lot of times, like if you look at wrestlers, like there's a lot, any wrestler can do pretty much any move, right? It's not the moves that matter, it's the person doing it that matters. And what I've always thought, going back to that 2003 time frame, is that one of the things that's kind of hurt the dunk contest is it's the who is doing it necessarily. And, you know, talking about LeBron, I think he is the one who I think everybody looks at and says, man, if only LeBron would get in the dunk contest. Obviously, at this point, that ship is definitely sailed, but
that ship done broke down. It ain't sailing or nothing. It's done.
But I actually do have a question for Larry, because, you know, we can look at like how, you know, league agreements and stuff like that. Is that something that is incentivized for players, or at least at the time, was that incentivized for players to participate in that? Was there bonuses or something like that that would go along with being in that type of event? Or is there any type of way that a player would actually want to participate in that versus electing not to do it?
Yeah, I think the dollar amount is really a non-issue. It's the fact that these guys are making so much money that, you know, you have to really, you know, tip the scales, you know, in the $1 million range to get these guys even excited about doing a dunk contest, because they can make so much money in other places if they don't participate in the dunk contest. And then when I was coming up, you get those checks, man. You get obviously for participating, and then where you finish, within the dunk contest, that's, the amount of money that you get. So there are some incentives there, but I think it's more so of guys that really want to make a name for themselves, that use that platform at that time to be the, few guys that are on the court while everybody's watching. That kind of helps them get a little bit of boost. That's probably the most value that I see from the dunk contest now, because back when we had Blake Griffin, you had, like you said, Zach LaVine and Dwight Howard, all those guys participating were, had a little cachet with them, but to be able to sustain that, year after year, the schedule changes, right, from All-Star Weekend, and when these guys have to show up to All-Star Weekend, and then, when they have to roll right back out and start playing games again, that's changed a little bit. So I think that's helped guys be a little bit more open to, these events, because they're not, exerting so much energy then going out, in the next couple of days to play an actual real game. So I just think there's a lot of things that go, with it. But for me, I think it's using, those younger guys with, if you're going to have the dunk contest, the younger guys are going to benefit the most from the dunk contest now.
Mm-hmm. I have one quick question, just a prediction, and this is for everybody out here, especially when you see like the rise in like TV revenue and these new contracts, especially like, with the NBA being on streaming now. Do you all see, like, in like 5 years or so, or at least when the next agreements expire, do you see Netflix possibly trying to bid specifically on that type of special event, maybe even like the in-season tournament games? But do you see Netflix kind of getting into something like that and pay and actually being the reason that, pays high incentives for players to be in the dunk contest compared, the All-Star game, the dunk contest, the 3-point, finding ways to revamp that to really capture people's attention, where you really make it into a super event rather than just, well, this is just our side activity and we have the All-Star game itself.
I can see the NBA or like letting Netflix grab the entire NBA All-Star weekend by that point. Yeah. Just have all three nights on Netflix, and then at that point, like Craig was saying, they would have that money to bring in like the Mac McClungs, the I don't want to mess up his last name. I think it's Jordan Kilganon. I think that's his last name. The guy, he a dunking beast. Like I think he won an episode of Shaq's dunk contest show, like in the early years of it, and he just Kilogram. It's something. It starts with a K, but I can see them definitely doing that for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it really factors in enough of the guys, reputation and who they are as basketball players for it to really matter. Because even if you start to throw dollars at these guys, a lot of guys are going to show up just to get the dollar, and they're still going to give the same sort of effort, within the dunk contest. So you got to be a little make sure that you're not throwing too much money at them at the same time, because a lot of guys or some guys will just show up and grab the check and you'll still get the same product.
Oh, with Netflix, especially if you look at some of these fights and stuff that they have coming out, I wouldn't be surprised if you wind up seeing Ray Allen versus Steph Curry in a 3-point contest as a spectacle event of some sort.
Throw Reggie Miller in there too.
I mean, but you see what I'm saying? Like those are creative things. Obviously, age is going to play a factor at some point. I don't know necessarily when it comes to 3 points, especially like with Ray Allen. But you know what I mean? Like I feel like Netflix is more equipped to have the money to put out there to, really secure the event and make it something larger than it's been over the past few years. Because like at a certain point, you can talk about like the people who are dunkers that if you're watching, you already know, but you're not going to get a casual person to tune in unless it's names that people know and want to see in the dunk contest.
Yeah, you got to have star power. I think that's what it's about. You got to have the big names.
But you want the other people too. You want them also in there because that's going to make it more exciting. But you're going to have more eyeballs to capture that.
Yeah, it's like if you got these guys probably aren't the best in-game dunkers, but they can dunk. The stars of the league. I guess the SGAs, I don't know, even Wemby get into it. You know what I'm saying? The bigger names in the league right now, if they got into the contest, it would make more of a fanfare type of thing. You would have more excitement around it. The execution, I don't know, but I just think it needs to be done in a whole different way. Take the NBA players out of it. I mean, out of it altogether. Make it into a spectacle, entertainment type of thing. But
Wemby too tall. Wemby too tall for that. That ain't. They gonna have to make it a what is that? A 16-foot rim if Wemby want to be in it.
But the other aspect of that All-Star weekend was that All-Star game. I'm curious to Larry to see how did you feel about the format and the competitive side of it. You had players actually out there balling. You had some competition in the All-Star game for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, man, I think I've reached that age where like my old school kind of kicks in, and when new things are introduced, I kind of side-eyed a little bit, just because I come from the nature of when you talk about the All-Star game and the format. I know they're changing things around to try to get the best product, to keep everything entertaining. But having those 12, 13 guys on one side, having those 12, 13 guys on the other side, and you go out and you play a game, that's really what I grew up on. So when I see these different sort of setups, these different sort of scenarios where they are playing half games, and that for me as a basketball fan as well, and also a guy that played, it doesn't really move me. I do like the fact that after the event, there's better conversations around how the event went, because again, I'm a product of the game, and anytime that there's a black mark on the game as far as to how guys are playing, I feel it as well. So I definitely love the fact that after the event, there was, more encouraging words of, the format actually working. But I do think it's a product of the players as well. And the format is the format. But essentially, if you had those same players, on the sideline against each other, and they brought that same intensity, you wouldn't necessarily have to put these different things in place to keep people engaged in it. So I have, kind of both sides to it. Is I love the fact that, it was well received and the guys played hard, but I also think there was just guys in that game that allowed, that setup, that scenario to make a lot of sense. So I, love the All-Star weekend, just minus the slam dunk contest, and the game is kind of the ultimate showing and highlighting the best players in the game at that time to have them go out and compete. So at some point, I would like to see them get back to that sort of format, East versus West and things of that nature, and get back to the purity of what kind of the All-Star game looks like.
For sure. One of the funniest moments of All-Star weekend. I didn't tell our producer to grab the clip of it, but they caught LeBron on the sideline just jokingly say F Wemby. And the way he was like, just the way the music was playing and his facial expressions, like some true LeBron facial expressions, like back in the goofball days, especially with his early days in Cleveland, just being that fun. Like you were saying, a 23-year vet just having fun and not really giving a damn who has something to say. Like, just, he was like, F Wemby, and then just smiling and stuff like that. That was one of the funniest clips of the whole weekend. But going back to the game, when we announced the format here on the show, I'm not afraid to say I was one of the people who said, yeah, and All-Star weekend is done. Get rid of it. This concept is stupid. It's not gonna work. Like I was avidly against it. But then to see it in real time, and like you all are saying, the competitive nature was working its way back into the All-Star weekend. Like the youngins, like Ant said, he said, out of respect, we had to give him the belt. Like, and just for that competitive nature to be back into the game, it made a believer out of me for its first year. It did all right. I can't wait to see how they keep implementing this U.S. versus the world format with the U.S. stars and the U.S. stripes, the old heads and the young heads versus the world, which I didn't know how it was going to go because, the world, they got a lot of good players over there on that world side. But we got a lot of good players on that U.S. side, too. So it was entertaining. Shout out to the MVP of All-Star Weekend who didn't know he was getting it. Anthony Edwards, his shock face, that was priceless. That was like, oh, he really didn't think he was going to get the MVP. But shout out to him and all the work he's been putting in. I just hope he gets his big break when the playoffs come soon. And, it's just, I'm a believer. I'm not as excited because I still got to sit through a dunk contest and the celebrity game. Shout out to the skills challenge. That was fun to watch. I like the format of that this year. That was definitely entertaining. It came down literally to the last couple of shots as to who was going to win that. So I would say they got it right in some areas, and they're living by the creed of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, not realizing that thing is broken, shattered, and irreplaceable, or unfixable, let me say, that being the NBA dunk contest.
I want to, we kind of touched on it a little bit, so I want to get your thoughts, Larry, about the state of the game today, as you being an NBA vet and you coming from a time when rivalries were there, competition was strong, dislike on the court was, they got after each other, In today's game, do you think that type of rivalry, that type of tense type of I guess competition is still present in today's game? I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm 54 years old. I grew up watching them grew up watching them Detroit, them bad boys, it was they throwing punches. You come through the lane, you getting elbows, you getting punched in the mouth, So do you think that level of what's your view on today's NBA and just the players? Because it seems like I just think like everybody's just cool with everybody. It's not no real.
Craig, you want me to say it for you, Craig? You think they soft, Craig? You want me to say it for you?
I was go a little bit further. I think sometimes they act like some bitches. But go right ahead, Larry. I'm giving you. They too damn cool to me, man.
I think the competition. I think the competition, level, just one to compete. I think is still there. Like I can be honest, like, obviously my son is playing college ball, so I watch a ton of college ball, and I'm in the development space, so I watch. Like I have, kids that I work with, at the youth level that are now like graduating from college. So I watch a lot of college basketball. And without Jason, being, playing this season, I haven't watched as much NBA basketball as I normally watch, just because I don't really agree with the style of play, not necessarily the competitiveness of the game, more so than the style of play and the strategy that's involved in the basketball, the game that I, grew up in. Finding out mismatches. If you get a small on a big, then the big takes the guy, into the paint area to force a double team. So this game that they're playing now is more about space, and it's more about, the analytics and, firing up 3-point shots, which for me, it loses, some of the strategy, right? Some of the high level basketball knowledge. You get that once you get into the playoffs and you get the short number of teams start to come into play. But just to be honest, man, I don't really enjoy watching the new style of basketball. You're down 15, the game's not over because the team that's up 15, they're going to continue to shoot threes, make or miss. The team that's down 15, they're going to continue to shoot threes, make or miss. And in most situations, that 15-point game turns into a 4-point game because the team that was up, they're still shooting and they miss. So for me, I don't enjoy watching that. I love the strategy. And with that strategy comes like that competitive edge, that nature of really getting into the trenches of, of the game. So I do think that's missing. but they got a lot of eyeballs on the game. I mean, a lot of different ways to consume it. And the players are really, really good, really, really skilled. It's just the style of play in which all of the teams are playing at that I don't really have a lot of interest in on a night-to-night basis.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of what Craig said. You say you haven't been watching much since Jason hasn't been playing. So my question to you is, Larry, out of what you have seen and the stars that are in the league now, once LeBron decides to say, hey, I can't play anymore, who would you consider to be the face of the league at that going into when LeBron exits and passes the torches, off to someone else?
Somebody got to take it. Somebody has to take it, because I don't think you can just give it to one guy, because there are a number of guys that that can qualify for it. You got Wemby, you got Ant, you got Cade, you got SGA. But Bron got it because of his ability to win basketball games and be in the forefront year after year. So if somebody is going to do that, then obviously, it turns out that they'll be the guy. So I don't like it when we say, we're looking for someone to hand it to give it to say, okay, now you're the face, now it's your show. No, I don't think Bron got it that way. I think over the years of him being there, winning basketball games and playing in the finals, I think that's how he became who he is. So the guys that are in place now, SGA, who has a really good team, will figure out, with the rules of not if that team can stay together. Wemby, who is now up and coming, who has a nice supporting cast around him. Cade, who's in Detroit, who now, after having a couple years of really bad seasons, they've figured out, the talent that they need to have on the floor to win and be successful. So if these guys go on a multiple year run, then I think you can start to say, okay, start to point to, who's the next face. But I wouldn't, right now today, I wouldn't give any of those guys the torch when Bron leaves.
And then just to piggyback real quick, when Craig talks about how they're, I'm gonna use the first word he said, how the competitive nature isn't gone. Like Rio said, it's soft. Like I see it. Like we spoke about the Detroit and the Bulls rivalry, to where anytime they played, somebody get knocked the fuck out. Like, and it ain't got nothing to do with the game. It's just because you got on this jersey. I don't like you. I don't care if we grew up as next door neighbors. I don't care if you my own brother. You got this jersey on. I got this jersey on. I don't like you. There's too much. The intensity of the rivalries isn't like how it used to be. When you look at just a couple days ago, the Lakers and the Celtics played each other. That's one of, if not the biggest rivalry in the history of the NBA, because of everything that went down with Magic and Bird, with the series between the big three of Boston and Kobe, Derek Fisher, and Pau Gasol. Those games, those playoffs, those finals appearances, those matches, I believe they went against each other 2 times. It was like 2008 and 2010 when they went against each other. Just that intensity, the history of it. And then y'all are just too cordial before and after the whistle, and sometimes even during the game. It's just like there's a certain element that's been lost. I hope to see it come back soon, because it's when you get too. Giannis said it best. It's like, I can't be friends with you. I can't train with you in the off season, because then you're gonna know what I'm doing. It loses the element of the game. That's why he said he doesn't really train with people. He's not really buddy with a lot of other players outside of the Bucks in the league. He said that early on, and I respect that. Now, I like I said, I just hope to see it get back to a place where it can mimic a NCAA type of rivalry week. I would love to see the energy of the game of the Great North between Michigan and Ohio State. I would love to see that energy transfer to the professional level.
Michigan and Ohio basketball, please. College, no.
No, I'm saying like that intensity. I would love to see it.
Oh
Like,
my.
because that's what the league is missing. It used to be there. There used to be problems. We remember the Malice in the Palace.
Yeah, these guys making a whole lot of money, and the fines are really different now. So, like,
Oh yes.
you please believe that, if any altercation is getting ready to start, I mean, somebody is tapping them on the shoulder like, hey, 2 games.
Now I ain't
350.
saying like go out there in the old school and just punch somebody in the face. I ain't saying that. Not like in the literal like fight, but I'm just like, play with a little like a little extra pride for your
you want
team.
them to sell what the fans' perception is, that this is my team against that team, and it's us against them. You want them to sell the idea that there is some type of actual real, strong competition besides them just trying to play the game and win. You want them to be mad like you mad when you're watching the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. I'm not the one getting paid millions of dollars. Why am I more upset than you? Like, come on now.
Because you
there
ain't
has
making
to be a
$1
little
million.
madness with the millions. You know what? Craig, you might be
money,
on something.
the money changed a lot of things in this game, man. That money is real out there. And the fines, them fines is crazy, man. But I just think, man, I watch. I know you can't compare the two, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. You in hockey, they fight. They actually fight in hockey, and I think it's kind of cool. They go at it. They let them get it off, and it's entertaining and it's done. It's no animosity after that. After they throw their punches, they go at it for a second, then they go right back to the game. I think we put too much emphasis on fights in basketball and football and baseball. It's like it's the end of the world. We look at the players, and when they go into a brawl, like, how could they? What is going on? How they are some savage. You know what I'm saying? It makes it seem like they're just terrible people when they fight. But in hockey, it's an orchestrated fight. You see it. You see them go at it. And it's like, why is it so different? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So even when you see the kids in hockey fighting, like they had that clip a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all saw it. Come on now.
But I don't know, man. I think the fine should come down a little bit, man, and put more of that spirit into the game, man. More of more rivalries, man. More intense moments. More more anger. That's it. I mean, it is what it is. It's sports. I've played nowhere near Larry's level of sports, but we've all been on the court and been mad at somebody for doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
It's just that little spirit that you get sometimes. I don't know. And I guess because we're fans, we're consumers, we watch it, we want to see, we do want them to have the same type of anger and I guess
especially when the tickets cost more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, they got the NBA. I mean, they set up retreats for these guys to go on. So they're always together. There's a lot of training hubs and whatnot. They're always together. So it's just a different environment, right? We weren't as close with the entire league. There are a few people on each team that you kind of rock with. But these guys are spending a lot of time with each other. Even, today's world is different. You have some of these guys that are playing in the league that have, AAU teams and, have guys that have come up through the ranks for their AAU team. So, if they get into any sort of scuffle or any sort of, competitive vibe on the court, like what is their real reaction going to be with this guy that, played in your AAU program? So there's a lot of stuff that goes in the game today.
And you mentioned that AAU circuit, and I think that's where a lot of the camaraderie has started with a lot of young players. Was AAU prevalent like that when you were coming up, Larry?
Yeah, it was, but it was, again, the world was so big then, right? No social media. You didn't know what this guy was doing, on the phone or the device. You actually had to go, play in a tournament, or those guys had to come see you. So it was just different as far as the connectivity, in which all of these NBA guys and the guys that are coming up through the ranks, they go through their elite camps and things like that. And then 2 years later, they're playing against them. So it's a real sort of, touchy sort of situation when you talk about competition.
Mm-hmm. And Craig brought it up, man. The intensity of the rivalries of how we used to play, like compared to what it is in the NBA now. Like we've all touched the court, man. Look, if I could sit here, I'll tell y'all, it used to get crazy in them Jewish league games, boy. It used to hit the fan. I'm telling you. But real quick, we have a question. Oh, boy. Yarmulkes used to get the flying. Anyway, we have a question on behalf of our producer's lovely wife, Miss Jayonce. She would like to know, with the money that was collected when NBA players would get fines, what does the league do with the fine money?
I believe it was going into like a community sort of support
community.
Pot. Yeah, and I don't think we really know where the money actually ends up. But real talk, some of those guys that get fined, get suspended or fined for whatever reason, like they have the ability to get that money back as well. So it's once you're fined and it's not essentially gone until you kind of go through the process to see how much of that money you can actually get back. But yeah, from what I was told years ago, and I had my fair share of fines, that it was going to a good place. So what can you do?
It was going to them poker games. Well, no, we ain't gonna go there. We not gonna go there. We ain't gonna go there.
I'm gonna ask you this, Larry. You say you've been watching a lot of college basketball. I watch a lot of college basketball too. So far this season, you've had a lot of changing of the guard at the number one position. As far as the top 5 teams in the country that you see now, do you think if you had to select a few teams right now to lead going into the NCAA tournament, what teams do you think would solidify as number 1 seeds?
I think Duke is up there. I still think Arizona is up there. I've actually watched the game last night. I heard some good things about Iowa State, so I got a chance to watch Iowa State last year, and that's a really veteran team. A few of those guys have been on that team for a while, so I think that they have a really good shot. And then Michigan as well has been kind of rotating within that top 4, top 5, in the nation. So those are probably the top 4 that I think can get those number 1 spots.
Okay. I think me and you got the same idea as far as those 4 teams go. I watched Iowa State play. They play good. I am a Duke fan. I will always bleed Duke blue. And don't need to shake your head, Craig. There's no need. I'm always be a Duke fan, no matter what. Just cover your ears, that way you ain't gotta listen to it. But yeah, do that. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Well, hey man, this has been a great show. Larry, we appreciate you for taking the time to be with us on the Man Cave this evening. We are approaching our last segment. It is named Let a Naysayer Know. It is inspired by ESPN interpretation of the shirt that Jalen Milroe used to wear before his games in Alabama. Now, of course, the media meaning versus the personal meaning may be different, but the concept is all the same. We take an opportunity to speak to the naysayers, whether it be for a player, for a team, for an entire sport organization as a whole, and we let them know that they may be wrong about something, or to just wait and see if they're doubting something. So I'm actually going to let Craig give an example by letting him get his LANK moment out the way, Craig, is there something that you want to let a naysayer know?
I'm gonna let these naysayer knows that my Washington Wizards, okay? I'm a diehard fan. I love my squad to death. We have some pieces. We have a bright future. It's going to be a change. It's going to be a shift in the Eastern Conference within the next 2 to 3 years. I'm letting y'all naysayers know we are coming. We're not tanking right now. We're playing. We got some young dudes out there that just, you know, they're going to develop in the next couple of years. We got a couple of little pieces, and we got picks, and we got some money. So I'm letting y'all naysayers know y'all can go ahead, you know, hating on us for the last, I don't know, 1977, the last time we lost. Y'all been hating on us forever, but
almost 50 years. Look, he said Washington Wizards, they got some pieces. Yeah, all those pieces are called Anthony Davis's knees. They already in pieces.
See? And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. We get a lot of that, you know, we I'm talking about my young dudes that are going to develop into a couple of stars we got, man. So I'm letting them naysayers know that we're coming, and you know, my Wizards, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back to some glory days, man. We are back when Larry was there, when we, you know, when I guess we did make the playoffs when y'all was with when MJ and Jahadi and y'all were there. Yeah. We did. We
y'all don't want to talk about that other piece that was on that team.
Because they suck.
No, you don't want to talk about it. Okay. Anyway, shout out Kwame Brown.
Oh man. Shout out to Kwame. He may be watching, man. You know that dude go hard on the net.
Look, look, we about to get a whole from the car video tomorrow. We about to get slammed.
Dissing everybody.
So yeah, Larry, that's the premise. You just take a moment to let the naysayers know something, or show them, you know, just give them some time and they'll be eating their words. With that being said, do you have a let a naysayer know moment?
Yeah, I think this is, you know, a hometown podcast, obviously, with a lot of hometown guys on it. And I think, you know, let a naysayer know, you know, as far as, you know, my son coming along and being, you know, who everybody was kind of waiting on to see what, you know, what he could do, you know, what kind of player he's going to be. He's really turning into the guy that, you know, we all expected as far as the loving the game of basketball. So just letting everybody out there know that he's still coming. He's healthy now. So if you had anything to say about his game before, you know, you got to tune in now.
I like that.
Boom, just like that. And we not even gonna say that's spoken like a true father. That's spoken as a man that has watched the transformation of another player's game, and he just knows, hey, it's on the way. It's delayed, but it's not denied. Boom, just like that. Rio, what you got as far as letting a naysayer know something?
I honestly don't have nothing, man. I really don't. I don't have nothing to say to nobody. Let's just continue to evolve. That's all I can say. Let's evolve. Let this podcast evolve.
Go Duke.
Well,
that's right. Go Duke. Say it a little louder, Craig. I didn't hear you the first time. I didn't hear
Craig
you.
said no. All right. All right. T-Bone, you want to let a naysayer know something?
You know what? I wish I could name the source, but they're not even important in this situation, because I looked at something where they were going through the predictions of the NFL teams that are going to be the top ranked, you know, expected to make it the furthest. And I noticed that the 49ers were very low on the list. And I don't quite understand that. So I'm going to let a naysayer know right now, they will be back. And I'm telling you, it's going to be NFC. They're going to go to the playoffs. They're probably going to go to the division game. Most likely go to the NFC Championship game, and we'll see what happens from there. I can't make any promises, as we know from previous years. But you know what? You know, people will talk about what's going on in San Francisco or Santa Clara. Where do they practice? And people talk about there's the electrical plant that's nearby. Well, what y'all call electrical plants, I call energy. And that's what the 49ers are going to have. They're going to have energy next season. And next season, they are going to make it to those playoffs. And you know what? After 2 to 3 to 5 years of injuries, I feel like this will finally be the year where I don't know what's gonna make it happen. I don't know what type of creatine 3000 they need to take.
Creatine 3000.
But let me just tell you, those 49ers, they're going to make it. And something good is going to happen. Like I said, I'm a fan that's happy if they make it to the playoffs just to begin with. But my team has normally done a little bit more and a little bit more. Yeah, there was some setbacks here and there, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a LANK right now.
Yeah.
Go 49ers are gonna make it to the NFC Championship game and possibly maybe the Super Bowl. That's all I got.
Man, God.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and counter that BS with a true LANK moment. Now, all I'm gonna say is history is bound to repeat itself. Ladies and gentlemen, when Super Bowl 56 was held in the lovely SoFi Stadium, the Los Angeles Rams not only defended their turf, but conquered the Bengals on their own turf. And if they did it before, they can do it again with Super Bowl 61 returning back to SoFi Stadium, and my Los Angeles Rams with the reigning, defending, undisputed NFL most valuable player. That's right, undisputed. I don't care what the votes say. The Super Bowl proved it was undisputed. With Matthew Stafford leading the charge, with Puka Nacua, with Devontae Adams, with our superb coaching staff, which has just got upped with the addition of Cliff Kingsbury. We got Robert Woods, Bobby Trees coming back as a wide receiver coach. We probably gonna get Aaron Donald to come back just on the sideline to be a coach for the defense. We will take all that we can with our draft pick coming up, with our all-in mentality, with a modified F them picks for the 2026-2027 NFL season. We will see Matthew Stafford ride off into the sunset as an NFL MVP and a two-time Super Bowl champion. And you can take that, write it on a check, and take it to the bank. And just like that, this show is done. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This has been another fantastic episode of The Man Cave. We want to thank our special guest, Larry Hughes, for coming in and chilling with us. Make sure you check out his basketball academy. Go to the website, LHBASTL.com.
.com, yep.
.com to keep up with everything going on.
Give Larry the chance to tell his own stuff there, man.
You right. Go ahead, Larry. Do your thing. My bad. I got too caught up in the moment. I was in the zone. My bad.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the acknowledgement. We're in the space. Again, if you want any information about the Basketball Academy, we're working with all levels of athletes, not only supporting them on the court, but off the court, giving them great tools and skills to put in their toolbox to not only have fun with the basketball game, but see where it can take them later on. And then also off the court, we want to make sure that we help them with, their character development, making sure that they know self-confidence, be resilient, work hard, all those things that you need to be successful in life. We're just using basketball to teach those things. You can find out more information at LHBASTL.com.
Boom. That's it. On behalf of myself, Craig Black, Rio, T-Bone Funk, Sadal in his absence, and of course our special guest today, Mr. Larry Hughes. This has been the Man Cave, where anything can go down and everything just did. We'll see you next Wednesday. Well, we won't, but the ladies will see you next Wednesday for Ladies Night. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms, pun intended, so you can keep up with everything going on. And we out of here.
What you have just experienced was brought to you by Smoooth Productions. Until next time, stay tuned and stay smooth.